All right, everybody, welcome back to the Lions Pit podcast. I am your host, Nick Gomez. With me once again is my friend, Samson Odusanya. How are you, brother?
I am well. Happy to be here again, man.
Yeah, welcome back.
Round
welcome
two.
back to the show.
Round
2. Audio is going to be great. Yeah, we were just talking in. If you guys didn't watch the first episode with Samson, first of all, go back and watch it. It's excellent. And we get very deep with that conversation. Very beautiful conversation, to be honest with you. It really touched on a lot of things, and I got to see a side of you that I didn't know before, and it allowed me to open up a lot too. So thank you for creating that atmosphere and allowing me to do that. I feel like that's something you're really good at. Is that a pretty fair assumption?
I would say so. It's one thing that's reflected to me quite often. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same for me as well. Like as a coach, as a strength and conditioning coach, that has always been one of my biggest compliments is people saying that I create a comfort of space or a space of comfort.
Yep.
And I think that allows people to open up and connect on a deeper level as we did.
Yeah.
And as we have continued to do so.
Yeah.
But with that episode, the sound kind of did get a little muffled. I know we had a mic issue, which was unfortunate because it was a very good episode. But again, all very audible. So we're back for round 2.
Yeah.
You are at least 5 pounds lighter in hair. Cut off the dreads. Yeah, and I'm like 15 pounds lighter of fat. So this is the new versions of us.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
we are
go.
constantly evolving.
Hot air balloons right now.
Yeah, we are full of hot air. So welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to have you on. It's been a little over a year since the first episode. And again, we've had continued great conversations at the gym. So I was like, you know what, let's run it back. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Your story was great, getting into your past and your upbringing.
Yep.
And so now we're here to get a little more into what you do, why you do it. Because you're a very passionate person. I'm sure anyone that comes across you can quickly read that. You're very deep. You're never like a surface level conversation. You and I now, the friends that we've become, sure, they're quick highs and buys when we're going in and out of the gym. But when we get the opportunities, we do have good conversations.
Beautiful,
so always appreciated that.
Likewise, man.
I know that we got deep into your past now, but I want to get into what you're doing now and what continues to drive you and what your passions are. Because again, you are very clearly very passionate about what you're doing. And I want to get into that.
And thank you for having me again. It's, when you asked me, it was no hesitation. To answer your question, I'm still even trying to answer that question because one thing that's become quite apparent to me, especially with the question about, when you asked me if it was the same for me as far as people feeling comfortable or safe to let their guard down, I realized or I learned that I can't really access what it is that I offer unless it's through somebody else. So it's been very hard to answer that question because for many different people, I do many different things.
Yeah.
I actually did I don't want to say an experiment, but it was kind of like a reflective exercise. And I reached out to a good amount of my clients, some of my social media following, people in my life. And I just asked them, hey, through our work, through our interaction, through our relationship, who am I for you? And it was quite interesting because everyone said something completely different, including all of my clients.
Yeah.
It'd be a disservice to limit, let's say, my title or role to like a position. But I will say that ever since I was a child, I've known that I love people. So if you want to ask what I do, it's people. My work is people. It's for people. And over the years, it's becoming clearer that however or whatever you want to call it, my role is to create the conditions for people to reconnect back to what the truth is for them. Now, that's been done in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down the fitness and nutrition route. I've been down the mindset route with people. Currently in the, you can still call it mindset, but currently in the more psycho-spiritual, somatic kind of underneath the curtain route, underneath the surface route. Pull all that away. It really comes down to the conditions for somebody to remember who they are. How did I arrive here? For me specifically, my life is a testament to what I offer.
I love that.
The trainings, the teachings, the mentorship, the certifications, the competency around working with people, that came. But all that stuff, yes, supported me, but it really doesn't get to the core of what really happens when I'm in front of somebody or with somebody. And my life has just been a reflection. So how I got to where I got and what is still driving what I do is still the evolution of me. So as I grow, as I develop, as I deepen, that pours into my work.
Mm-hmm.
It pours into who I support. Again, when we spoke on the last episode, we kind of touched on my story.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say one of the greatest things that has sharpened or shaped how I support people is the ability that I had to develop the capacity to navigate and move through the pain that I experienced. So pain was the training ground for me, right? Pain was what I had to metabolize in order to receive, call it like the gift. And it's through that I'm able to witness, see, be with, and meet somebody in maybe something they don't even know they're carrying. So I guess you can say it's a long-winded way of saying, if you want to call me a coach, great. If you want to call me a guide, great. If you want to call me, a mentor, great. I don't really get attached to those things because for me, it's all about the human being in front of me. And when I'm in front of them, again, I'm starting to learn these as right now I'm learning new things about myself. There are things that I feel, there are things that I can sense, there are things that I can tap into. There are things that happen within me that I can't access unless I'm with them. So I don't know what you call that, right? And I've actually retired from trying to call it anything because I could become quite obsessive and try to find like, okay, cool, like how do I market that and how do I communicate that? But we're living in a time currently right now, and I think you could also speak to this, especially with you as a trainer who I think you prioritize more human touch and connection through working with them personally. We're living in a time right now where there's a lot of information overload. There's a lot of intellect overload. And I think what people are really like yearning for is touch, is connection. But it's only, in my opinion, only happens through resonance. So it's what people feel from you. And I know, like, if I prioritize acting like this is what I am and this is what I do, then people relate to that rather than what's the truth. And the truth is, hey, I love people and whatever is here, maybe I can help you resolve and work through that.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I like not putting labels on it, not being committed to a label or pigeonholed into an alley. It's, again, something that I have found myself as well. Being a strength coach for the first few years, especially when I was in Albuquerque, that's all I was a strength coach.
Yep.
And I had a story and I had a background and I had depth. But I think I was so new and nervous that I only allowed my title to show. And since moving out to Austin and also, more specifically since starting this podcast, I've allowed those layers to show. It has been so therapeutic for me personally to hear stories and also hear people respond to my story in a way that I have people that I don't know at the gym that'll come up to me and like say thank you. And it's one of those things like the whole reason I started this was, and I've said it many times, but if my story can help someone, if it helps one person, then I went through that pain for a reason.
Yep.
Because, if I had someone helping me navigate my storm, who knows how much easier it could have been? Who knows the dark, depressive thoughts that I could have avoided?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the key. And that's me being the Christian that I am, is now that I've gotten through the storms that I've been through, not to say that there won't be more, but I've gotten through some. It's like, okay, let's turn around, look at them and see who else I can help get through that. And when you say, what do people see when they see you? Instantly, I thought, like, I pictured a rock in a hectic river. Like the water is just rushing all around it, but the rock is sturdy. That was the first thing that popped in my head. You said, like, what do you see when you see me? What do my clients see when they see me? Like, you are a calm presence in a storm because you've been through the storm. You've survived the storm. And again, that's not to say that there won't be more. You're a father, you're a husband, you're a constantly evolving man.
Yeah.
And that in itself, just that last title,
yeah,
could be a huge struggle and is a huge struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's so much pressure that comes with that title if you truly are trying to serve your purpose as a man.
Yeah.
So then you add everything else on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to be well grounded in who you are, as constantly evolving as that may be, to help other people get through it as well. And the conversations that we've had, it's
Incredible.
no wonder that people come to you and that you are that rock for so many people going through the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah. It's funny as you say that, and I just kind of reflect on, again, some of the work that I do with people. It really comes down to if obviously there's so much nuance and complexity, and yet there's simplicity to it. And I think there's truth to what you say about a lot of people. Again, I think it's a part of this experience to experience storms. And sometimes people don't have the steadiness, which oftentimes reactionarily would have you avoid the storm. But if you need the storm as a part of your curriculum and you run away from it, then, well, you're robbing yourself of literally the next stage. So I think, what you say is kind of true. Like I do get to, my job, my role in a lot of cases is to remain steady as people are moving through storms. Now, what I've learned is there are a lot of undigested storms people have.
Yeah.
Storms that have been buried. And I kind of liken it to a visual that I always give is, imagine you try to push a beach ball or a ball underwater. What do you feel? What's the experience with that? Resistance, because the ball wants to fight its way right back up.
Yeah.
But then imagine you keep it there for, let's say, a day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe nothing. It's like, oh, you're strong. You're pretty fit. You can sustain a day. Let's try a week. Okay. Maybe a year. Eventually you start to feel your arms get tired. So now you're pulling resources from the rest of your body to try to sustain keeping that ball underwater. Let's try for another year. All of a sudden, now you're feeling the breakdown of having to hold it all down.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why you have situations where certain things just leak out of people and they just spaz or they just react. And it's like, I don't know where that came from. Well, because a lot of us, including myself at one point, had a lot of undigested storms.
Mm-hmm.
And the storm's role is to clear and pass.
It's necessary.
In order to clear, it has to pass.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pass, well, then it's not clear. And that lack of clarity is in you. That's what I love to do, actually.
Yeah.
As you say that, it's like, I love it. And I think I love it because my training ground has been a lot of storms.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of storms. Something you spoke to earlier, and it kind of pinged me when you mentioned the last title, the last role. I think you were speaking to the man. That's always the moment. I came to a realization, let's say a couple months ago, that I think, to speak to the nature, pun intended, and I'm going to kind of speak to right now, what I do is to help people return to their nature and divorce themselves from the performance. What I mean by that is, I think our Creator instilled in us, designed us, tailor-made us, all with specific natures. We all have a nature. Like you have your own nature as a man, just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the performance of a man. The performance of a man says there's certain rules, there's certain standards, there's certain expectations, there's certain things that society expects of you to be as a man, to fit whatever narrative or fit whatever system or institution. But the thing is, now that goes against your nature. Nature doesn't have to be performed. Nature just is. You go outside, nature is doing its thing. The sun does not need a reminder to be the sun. It's just being the sun.
Yeah.
The bird is not just, it's just being the bird. So what is stopping us from being our nature? That's the intersection I love to play in, because I know every single person, every single individual that I've worked with, there has not been one. When we create enough, I don't want to say safety, but when we create the conditions to know that it's okay to let go of the performance, nature shows up.
Yeah.
Right?
An interesting thought. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, And I think the perfect example of that is nature. A mentor of mine would say, nature is God in motion.
I like that.
Nature is God in motion because it's unadulterated. There's no, like, you can't hack it. It just is.
There's no influence. Yeah.
It's wild, but it's also beautiful, right? It's perfectly harmonious, right? And the thing is, where did we cut off ourselves from that? Because we're also a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, I think there's this exploration or conversation of the nature of a man or a woman versus the performance of a man or a woman. One has rules, one has constraints, one is an act, one just is.
Yeah. And I think that's so spot on because going through the storms that I've gone through, I've worn so many different masks.
Yes.
And that was into adulthood. That was into my late 20s, even early 30s. And it was one of those things where it was exhausting. It was so exhausting because I was fighting nature. I was fighting who I was because I thought no one would accept it. And the more I accepted it, the more I realized the right people accepted it.
Yes.
And there were no other facades. There were no other fake people in my life.
Yes.
And it's because I took off my mask. Because if I was naturally who I was in growing up in grade school and all that stuff, I would probably been in different classes. I would have had a different friend group. I probably would have been labeled completely different how I was. I mean, I was the homecoming king at my high school. Yeah, I was.
I'm learning new things about you every time. Damn.
I was homecoming king in my high school on an act. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Nobody voted for me. They voted for the mask of who I was pretending to be. Nobody knew me. Nobody knew me in high school. I never had people over at my house. Nothing. I had my teammates. If you play any team sport, those are probably your closest friends.
Yep.
And those are the people I related with the most. And I had friends that were wearing similar masks to me, and I could see through that. And I knew their upbringings. I knew their parents, and I'm like, "You're my friend for a reason."
Yeah.
And we're still friends for a reason.
Yeah.
But again, if the nature version of me was in high school, I wouldn't have been. I probably wouldn't have graduated high school. I wouldn't have been homecoming king. I wouldn't have been anyone compared to. I wouldn't have been anywhere close to who people thought I was.
Can you say more to that? Like when you said I wouldn't have graduated high school, speak to, like, what I'm hearing is like the nature would not have had you play along with the system, if that's what
I probably would have ran away. I probably would have ran away if I allowed my nature to show. But that was so frowned upon, and it was so like, that kid's troubled.
Yes.
And I was very much troubled, but I knew better than to let it show. And I knew that I wouldn't be accepted in the circles that I ran with if I let that show. And also to the extent of, I had teachers give me favors to help me graduate, as far as like, he's a good kid. Like, he's not a bad student. He's a good kid. He's just distracted with sports or girls or whatever the case may be. They didn't know that I was an inferno on the inside. Like, I wanted to burn the world down. And at times I still do. I knew it wouldn't be accepted. I knew I couldn't show that. I knew I couldn't allow people to see that. So I put on masks. I looked, like, if you would have seen me in high school, you would have thought I was like a preppy kid from like a middle class family that was doing okay. And I couldn't have been further from that. I was wearing Hollister. You know what? I stole that Hollister.
Yeah.
My wardrobe, my senior year of high school, I stole from the mall. But I did it for the mask. I did it for the facade. I wanted people to see that. I didn't want them to see the kid that was raging and like punching pillows because he didn't want to break his hands on a wall.
You didn't want them to see the inferno.
No.
Now, what did that kid with the inferno need, though?
A hug. That kid needed to be told that it's going to be okay. It's brutal now. And that's, again, to speak on what we were first talking about, that's why I do this. Because if that kid could see my story, he'd be like, okay, there's hope. Yeah, like
I feel him right now.
Yeah, dude, I'm holding him back right now. Like I'm trying not to get choked up, but like that's all it was. And not that my parents, as difficult as like my upbringing was, I never doubted that they loved me. It was never a lack of love around the home. It was never that.
Of course.
But it was a lack of what I thought I needed.
It
was a lack of a nice car, a nice house. Like it was a lack of all that I was like, well, why don't I have this? And I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, I hate. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't look back on any different phase of me. The guy that got married too early, the guy that gave up on himself, the guy that quit playing college baseball. I don't look at any version of myself and think, what an idiot.
Yep.
No, I look back at that kid and be like, wish I could hug him.
Of course. You know, there's this saying, the moment you said inferno, it's like it just came in. There's this saying, it's an African proverb that says, a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. I remember when I first heard that. Yes, I'll say it again. A child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Good God, that strikes.
And this comes up a lot because we're adults now, right? At least we like to think that we're adults.
legally, we are adults now.
Right. It's like you look at a lot of people out in the world, it's like, ah. When I work with someone, I try to get them to slow down and have them see that there are two things, or probably multiple things, that are being played at once. There's the adult version of us that can look back with more mature eyes, more mature perspective, more experience, and say, oh yeah, you know, of course, that happened for a reason. My parents didn't know any better. And that's a mature place to look at, and that's valid.
Mm-hmm.
But what I remembered, which is what I support people in remembering, is that there's the kid with the inferno. There's the kid who felt like he was wrong or something was wrong with him, that didn't have embrace, that didn't have assurance, that was not met in what he needed or what they needed. And that kid is who built the adult now.
Yeah.
So it'll be a disservice to look back from a more mature lens, which is also a form of looking over the kid that needed to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the adult, but there's also the kid or the past version that is contributing to who the adult is. Every child, this could be generalization. I'm going to generalize. I have 2 daughters and I see it every moment of the day. Every child wants and needs embrace, warmth, protection, love. They're fully dependent on their caregivers and parents. They're fully reliant on their caregivers and parents. In fact, before a child develops an understanding or a reference of what God is, mom and dad is God.
Yeah, it's everything.
It's literally everything.
Yeah.
And when a child doesn't have that, and the environment isn't set up to help the child understand why it doesn't have that, or maybe bring them back down, or maybe help regulate them, the child now takes it upon itself, because it doesn't want to lose love, belonging, warmth. It does not want to lose connection. It takes it upon himself to put a mask on.
Yeah.
Intelligent adaptation to maintain connection in the environment that essentially is keeping he or she alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the challenge with that is the child doesn't know any better. So now the inferno becomes something wrong, rather than, I just need a hug.
Yeah.
We end up burning the world to feel warm. That world can be us.
Yeah.
Right? Through addictions, through unhealthy habits, but we end up burning the world to feel warmth that we didn't get. And maybe warmth is still available, but we're not going to get it from who didn't give it to us. We have to provide it to us. We have to find some sort of resolve even beyond ourselves, like a relationship with the Creator, to feel warmth, to feel hugged, to feel held.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that is what I found, and it was what I needed. And I grew up loosely in the church. You know, my mom went to like an all-girls Catholic school. My dad, old school Hispanic Catholic.
Where are your parents from?
My dad is from Colombia.
I think yeah.
Yeah, my mom's from California.
Okay.
But they, kind of like you're saying, like my mom and dad, I know they did their best. And that's the adult in me understanding now.
Yes.
Like, it's weird as I see myself become the age that I knew my parents.
Yes.
And
Yes.
dude, it's such a thing of like, I don't have any kids yet, but a level of understanding.
Oh my gosh.
And the first time I had it, I'm not gonna lie, I was on not a macro dose, but a decent amount of mushrooms, and I had this understanding of my mom for the first time, and I was like, I see you as the adult, I see you as the human, and not just my mom. And not as this supposed to be perfect figure.
Yeah, you removed it from the pedestal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
In the best kind of way.
Yep.
You know, it was just one of those things where I was like, I need to quit being such an asshole. Like, I see your struggle. I see how hard you've tried.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could have done any better myself.
Yeah.
And that understanding like really released a lot of angst.
Yeah.
And it was, call it plant medicine. And it was one of those things where I was like, without that realization, like, I don't know if I would have been able to open up the way that I have over the last few years.
Absolutely.
And it's been such a blessing to be able to find that. Even in my late 30s, you're never too late to find that, I think. Because never finding it is the real tragedy.
Yes.
Never having that understanding, never finding that compassion for your parents that tried their best.
Oh, I love that you brought this up, Nick. I love that you brought this up, Nick. Oh, I love that you brought this up. We're at a very interesting point in the world, and maybe it's just the bubble that I'm in. And I think it's also part of the current culture, and call it Western culture, if you will, where there is this running conversation, justifiably so, with maintaining disconnection from our parents. Now, my line of work because in my work, it's impossible to work with me without touching upon your history related to your parents, right? My line of work, I can see why a lot of people would not want to have an active relationship with their parents, which I think it's valid. So this is not even about pursuing an active relationship because it could actually be more detrimental and dangerous to do that. It wasn't until I had children that I instantly, it wasn't even like I love psychedelics, but I didn't even need psychedelics. Children were my firstborn was a psychedelic.
That was your elevated state.
That was my elevated state of realizing, oh, I now am walking in the shoes of who my mom and dad were and what they potentially experienced during the time they raised me and how it was raising me. They were young. And I always say, if I had the consciousness they had, the upbringing they had, the choices they had, the decisions they made, who's to say I wouldn't have done the same exact thing? So there was nothing to forgive. It was just ultimate acceptance.
Yeah.
But why I just felt what I felt is because whilst there could be some relief in maybe not maintaining some sort of connection with our parents, we forget that you're not who you are without your parents. Half of your mom is in you, half of your father is in you. When I realized this, I realized where I was also stunting my own growth, call it freedom, if you will, call it expression. And I touched upon this in the last podcast. When my mom and dad separated, the words I told my dad, it's funny, I spoke to him not too long ago. He's like, how the hell did you remember this? I was like,
because you were how old?
I was four or five, I think. Yeah, I was young. It was before 5. And I told him, if you leave, I'm going to hate you. Now, what does a 4-year-old know about hate? I don't hate my father. He was my hero. My mom was I'm like, I didn't hate them. I just didn't want him to go.
Right.
So those are the words I came up with as a plea to try to get him to stay, and he left. And I blame myself for that. So I paid the price thinking that it was my fault that my dad left. But then after that, because things became so hard, and I didn't see my dad for like another 5 to 6 years, I internalized and projected on him, essentially, I demonized him. One, because of how he was portrayed to me,
Mm-hmm.
and two, because he wasn't there. So I demonized him. And I don't remember when, but I remember making an unconscious decision. There was a decision made that I didn't want to be like him.
Yeah.
So I divorced my father completely. Nope, you brought pain to my mom because you left. You destabilized the harmony, you destabilized the happiness, you destabilized the safety, you destabilized my heaven.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do not want to be like you ever. What I didn't know for a long time, even through communicating with him here and there, was divorcing him was also divorcing him and me.
Mm.
Divorcing
That's half of
him,
you.
cutting him off was also cutting half of me off as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was not wanting to exhibit or express, the intention was not to be like my father so I wouldn't recycle the pain that my mom experienced. What ended up happening was I threw the baby and the bathwater out. I threw it all out. So I also cut off positive traits, my father's ruthless ambition,
Yeah.
my father's persistence, my father's inability to take no for an answer, my father's love that sometimes it's like, it's piercing, but it's like, you know, he loves you.
It's undeniable.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
And I recognized in my life how, yeah, of course I'd be a pleaser. Of course I wouldn't be ruthless in that. Of course I'd get to the edge of almost like arriving and then, nope, let me pull away.
Yeah.
Of course I won't be direct and honest because I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt your feelings. And the last thing I want to do is cause you discomfort because I think something is wrong with me. So let me dim myself in order to keep you safe and comfortable. All those things was literally a part of me cutting off my father and me.
Yeah.
And why it's important, and it's not about maintaining an active relationship with our parents, it's about resolving the parents in us
Mm-hmm.
so we can arrive in our true and full nature. Otherwise, what I ended up doing, I was looking for my father in other people.
Yeah.
I was putting together, if you've seen Power Rangers, like a megazord of what a man is, because he wasn't there in the years that I needed him to help shape me, to help reflect back to me, for him to be the steady wall so I could bump up against. He wasn't there to help me transition from boy into man. So I had to go through my own initiation. Life had to do that for me. And when I came to that realization, I saw him like, holy shit. Even though, yes, because there's a lot of pain that I experienced from my parents. And I say this humbly, I am blessed to have done the work to be at a place where my heart is open enough to have an active relationship with my parents. Like, I love my mother. I love my father. I haven't seen my mother in 21 years.
That's so wild.
Yeah, man. And I'm grateful because, I talked to someone from the gym the other day, and they're still processing the loss of their mom from years ago. And I'm like, fuck, like my mom's still here. And I can still talk to her.
Yeah.
So for me, there's gratitude for my parents. And yes, from the more mature adult perspective, I wouldn't be who I am without them. I wouldn't be who I am without my father's temporary absence. I wouldn't be who I am without my mom and what she had to experience and how she raised me. So it all was according to the plan, if you will, right? I wouldn't be able to have the capacity to be with another human being and witness them through their storm if I didn't go through the storm of what happened between my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
So while I can honor and not dismiss my experience, I can also thank my parents for doing. And here's the thing that trips me up, Nick. This is the shit I think about all the time. And maybe it's just the part of me that I like to wonder and be in the awe of it. The likelihood of our parents meeting, have you ever sat and thought about that?
It's insane.
Like, my father was supposed to be going to school in London. My grandfather sent him to school in London, and my mom was there in some business, and they just ended up meeting because some friends were having to get together, and then they met. And all of a sudden, they're pregnant with me. And I'm like, one wrong turn one missed flight, one lateness,
Yeah.
my parents would have missed each other.
Like ships in the night.
And I'm not here.
Yeah.
And you're not here. So
It's not an accident.
no.
Yeah.
And maybe my mom and my father's job. Now, I'm a parent, so I don't subscribe to this, but I'm going to just say this, was to do what was necessary and navigate whatever challenges they had to just get me here.
Yeah. That's such a revelation.
Yeah.
To accept that and to understand that.
Yeah.
Because I've had similar thoughts. And same thing. My dad was from Colombia. He's 14 years older than my mom. And they met at a car dealership where my mom was working with my dad's ex-wife. And my mom always used to answer the phone when my dad would call and be like, God, he sounds so handsome. My dad had a heavy accent.
Yeah.
And then finally one day he comes to see his wife at work and my mom's there and she's like, that's Oscar? Oh my God. Like she's like, from the moment I saw him, I loved him. And she danced with
How'd your dad's ex-wife feel about that?
Oh, I didn't get her side of the story. But this is, and my dad danced with my mom at his wedding to his ex-wife. Like they do, like, that you pay $1 to go dance with the groom. Yeah. And any one of those moments, my mom could have drank too much that night and gone and puked instead of going to dance with my dad. Anything, like you just said,
Like
anything could have happened.
Anything.
And as rough and tumultuous,
yeah.
as their relationship and my upbringing was, maybe I'm the reason that is.
Mm.
And I've had that same thought with, and again, I don't like to say my dad passed so that I could become the man that I am today.
Mm.
But that's a thought that I've had, is because I know for damn sure I wouldn't be who I am today if my dad was still, don't get me wrong, I miss him every day.
Yep.
I love my dad dearly.
Yep.
He was a great man. But I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be helping the people I'm helping. And so it's kind of that same thought of like this is all happening for this path to unwind.
Absolutely.
And none of it's an accident.
No.
Now, are you going to fight it? And you're going to continue to blame people or blame like your parents for whatever? Or are you going to try to see them on a human level and have an understanding of it? And it's so crazy when you're speaking to seeing your dad in you. In that moment, and that's kind of why I sat back. You know what I saw in my dad as a kid? Fire. And I tried to hide that inferno.
There's the inferno.
Yeah. My dad was a fiery, passionate person. And you ask anyone that I've ever talked to about my dad, those are the words I use to describe him. Never doubted that he loved me, but he was a fiery person.
There's that inferno.
Yeah. So that's why, like, when you said that, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. As much as we want to deny it, we can't. Like, I mean, their DNA is coursing through us as much as our grandfathers and our ancestors' DNA is coursing through us. So, again, how I see it is, I see it through even lineage work that I do. Imagine everyone that's come before you is a river, and you're the next in line. What's a river meant to do? To flow.
Yeah.
And maybe the work is to undo whatever is unresolved that has been passed down to you unconsciously so you can keep the river going. But what do rivers also do? They redirect.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes rivers go in a different direction. And I think in a lot of ways, for those who have the blessing and the willingness and the wherewithal and just the opportunity to just even breathe differently and just see life a bit differently than what you were raised in, you are directing your lineage into a different way.
Yeah.
If I didn't do this, if I don't do the work that I do, if I didn't do the work that I did, I would, in my mind, think that I'm doing my daughters a service by not being who my dad was to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm indirectly doing it because I'm still living in reference to him.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure that I resolve that within me so I can fall into my nature and give my daughters the father they need, not the fathers I want them to have because I didn't have my father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're rerouting the river.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the thing is, the beautiful thing about that is like they get what they need, not what I want them to because what I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Question for you though. You said the inferno.
Yeah.
It's in you. I don't see it in the gym. Where does it come out? Fighting?
Yeah.
The moment you said that, I was like, he's probably a savage fighting.
Yeah, I'm not. It's funny. I've always said that out of all the people I've ever worked with, I relate with fighters the most because they tend to come from tough backgrounds. Yes. There are so few fighters that had it made and chose to go into fighting. A lot of them, it's the only path they have.
Yep.
It's their only chance to escape their lineage or their generational trauma.
Yeah.
Like I want to build something for my kids, for my family. I want success. I want financial security.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them is like, that's the dream and the hope. And my legit earliest memory is fighting in a homeless shelter. That is the earliest.
You got to tell this story.
Yeah. So I won't say I was raised homeless. I was homeless for a brief amount of time as a kid, and it was the early years. But I remember fighting over a toy with a kid and getting a bloody nose. And again, I was less than 5. So it's that memory, and it's so weird because I've taken like family like psychology classes in college, and they say that like at a certain age you don't have memories before that, and I'm like, no, I remember stuff before that age. I remember, but these, as you know, as I'm sure you know through what you do with work, there's a lot of stuff in textbooks that is written. It's textbook. It is not applicable to
real life.
Human experience. So yeah, that is my earliest memory is getting in a fight. It was a Door of Hope was the name of the homeless shelter.
Wow.
In Glendora, California. I'm sorry, it might have been in Pasadena. I'm pretty sure it's Pasadena, California. It's still there. Yeah. I look it up often. Like every few years, I'll look it up to make sure it's still like a functioning business, because at the end of the day, like if I ever have any sort of success, I want to cut them a check. Like I want to pay them because of what they provided for us. I'll never claim to be a fighter. Like I loved it. I didn't do it for a career path, but it was I shit you not, I have become a much more peaceful person since I got into fighting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. I actually agree with that. Thank you for sharing, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're even saying this, I'm recognizing too that one thing that my dad had, even my mother actually, be more my mom than my dad, was fire. It's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I really have not, there are times where it does just come out because I can't help it. I think that's probably the passion that you feel. So it's maybe like a calm fire. Mm. But there's a fire that I buried for a while because a lot of times fire came with pain.
It burns.
Yeah, it's the fire that burns. It's the aggressive fire. Fire can provide warmth or it could destroy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a question for you since you're in that world. My 2-year-old, she is fiery, and I love it. And I can see she's very different than my firstborn.
How old's the firstborn?
She's 7.
Okay.
She's the one that we put in soccer, and then 3 games in, she's like playing with her friends and the other opposite end, and we're like, yeah, she's done with soccer.
Yeah.
Right. But she's in gymnastics. She's a phenomenal gymnast. But my 2-year-old though, I'm sensing that, the environment for her outside of our home is going to be on some sort of mat.
Yeah.
Have you seen 2-year-olds? Like, what does that look like for toddlers?
I've seen, I think 4 is the youngest I've seen.
Okay, cool.
And I've had a guest on here. He just turned 18.
Yeah.
And he's the amateur champion for Fury FC.
Okay. Yeah.
Austin Hines, great kid. Really, like, truly a good kid and smart.
Yeah.
He started at 4. And I wish I would have found that earlier. But again, I every step I've taken has been laid before me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, give her a way to channel that.
Yeah.
Give her a way to channel. Don't like, because
we don't stop
and I don't strike you and me, and knowing your wife as I do, I wouldn't, you guys don't strike me as the type to try to dull her shine.
Yeah, no.
Especially for the sake of fighting's not feminine. Like, no. Go beat some ass. Like
it actually is.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, you see, and it tends to be younger females succeed in jujitsu.
Yeah.
At an earlier age. So I mean, jujitsu is the route I would send her.
Yeah.
Especially if she's aggressive.
When I look at a martial art, it's an art form. Art is more feminine in nature. Like if you look at a lot of these art forms, there's a dance to it.
Yeah.
So like I think fighting is more feminine than it is. Obviously, there's the technicality of it, but every fighter that I talk to, sure, practice the technicalities. I think there's some people that are more technical, but I think when you're not there, like you let the reps take you, but it becomes like the dance at the end of the day,
dance.
Right?
Oh,
Right.
it's always referred to as a dance.
Yeah.
It's a dancing partner, and you want to lead. And you have the masculine aggression.
Yes.
But
of course.
you hear so many martial arts referred to as beautiful. You don't hear masculine and beautiful going hand in hand often.
Yeah.
But you hear, it's the beautiful science.
Yes.
Or the sweet science.
Yeah.
Beautiful, sweet don't tend to go with masculine. So you're spot on.
Yeah.
And it is art. It is art.
Yeah.
You look at it in any true form, and you have guys that are just tough individuals that just want to bleed and see people bleed.
Right.
And that's different, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that because people have made lots and lots of money and had successful careers off that. But you look at the people that truly treat it as an art, and they study it and they respect it. And I can't imagine how many awful scenarios would happen without martial arts. When you think about kids, bullies, schools, stuff like that. I tell people all the time, like, I'm the last person to go looking for a fight. I hate it. I hate it, but I am so glad I know how to do it. And it's the whole warrior in a garden.
Absolutely. Like training helped me, I wouldn't say calm. It just made me more present.
Yeah.
Just made me more present.
For sure.
Yeah.
It helped me navigate my inferno.
Absolutely. Such a beautiful way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, without it gave me an outlet. It gave me stress relief. It gave me friends that saw me for me.
Yep.
And not Nick Gomez, the homecoming baseball player that played college baseball, that was clean cut. But it's also it's kind of funny because me walking into a gym now, being clean cut, you often get side eye. Like, who's this guy? Who's this? Not to say pretty boy or anything like that, but who's this pretty boy walking in the gym?
Yeah.
And my most recent experience up at Ambush Muay Thai in North Austin, phenomenal Muay Thai training facility. They're far though, up like Round Rock. I got that because nobody knew who I was, but I remember I did a competition called MDL, Muay Thai Developmental League.
Yeah.
And it's a controlled fight. And my coach insisted that I do it because it's been a while since I've had a sanctioned fight.
Yeah.
And I go with a couple of the other young fighters, and we all go and we go do our weigh-ins, and then we head to Starbucks, grab coffee, something, a light snack to eat, because it wasn't it was same day weigh-ins, so nobody had like a big weight cut. And we're sitting there talking, and they're all jazzed up. These kids they're probably, the three guys I was with were probably mid to early 20s. I'm 38, and we're sitting there. I'm calm. I'm honestly nervous as shit on the inside. Even though it's a controlled fight, it's a fight at the end of the day, and I'm nervous as shit. And both there was one Russian kid, so he wasn't speaking too much, but the other two kids, Keith and oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but they're like, God, I can't wait to beat someone's ass today. And I'm like, or get your ass beat. Have you thought of that? And then we get into talking, and I start telling them like what I've done, who I've worked with, past fights that I've had and stuff like that. And I literally verbatim, one of the kids was like, "Who the hell are you?" And I'm like, "That's the key. Don't look like the weapon. Be the weapon." Like I went in there, and again, I was nervous, and I turned the kid's face into a ketchup packet. Like, I busted him up.
God damn.
Yeah, no, but it was one of those things where even my coach to that extent, he gave me so much more respect after that, because I think he kind of saw me as a tourist, and I sent him videos of like my previous fights because he wanted to see like my fight style.
Yeah.
I'm what's called a Muay Cow, a knee fighter, because I'm way shorter than my opponent, so I have to be aggressive. I have to get in, and I have to inflict damage that way.
Yeah.
And so when my coach actually seeing it happen, he was so much cooler to me after that. But it was one of those things like, yeah, I'm not going to show up looking like the guy that wants to beat the shit out of everybody.
Yep.
I'm a student.
Yep.
And I was also walking into foreign territory going to Ambush Muay Thai. Most of those people have been there for a long time, but I was confident in who I was going into that. But yeah, it was definitely a thing where I kind of had to let my work speak for itself.
Yeah, there's a confidence that comes with knowing, one, how to protect yourself, how to protect your loved ones, how to hold your own. So I think that's also what does it as well. And I think the confidence doesn't really have to. It's not like an externalized form of confidence. It's a confidence in connection, or rather in relationship with the part of you that you're not afraid of anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what changed for me. The most dangerous people are the ones who are afraid of themselves.
Yeah, that's deep.
The most dangerous people are the ones who are afraid of themselves. And when I no longer was afraid of those doors inside of me,
Mm-hmm.
the inferno, I was like, oh, okay, you're actually you're not bad. This is natural.
Yeah.
I just have not worked with you long enough to dance with you and measure you and know where to direct you. I haven't learned how to work with the dial, when to turn you up and turn you down. Yeah. And so why you see dangerous people that are afraid of themselves are the ones that get caught up where the thing overtakes them because they've suppressed it for so long that it has to go somewhere, and all of a sudden it leaks out, and then
yeah. Well, it's I forget who says the quote, and it's a very long, very powerful quote. But the beginning, it says, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is that we are powerful beyond all means, or beyond all measure. And how true is that? I was afraid to let that fire out because maybe it would have been uncontrollable.
Well, the truth is probably you didn't have the context or the environment safe enough to let you have it out. I mean,
I was surrounded by brush fire, or bush that would have caught fire around me. That's spot on.
Yeah.
And it also is going back to like fighting, and walking into ambush. It was kind of like Bane in Batman. It's like, oh, you think the darkness is your ally?
I was born
in the darkness,
I was
raised
molded by it.
But it's so true. Like he says in the quote, he says, "I didn't see the light till I was already a man."
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's like had I got into fighting at the age
he was scary.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite Batman villain. To be honest with you,
he was scary.
As great as Heath Ledger was as Joker, I think Tom Hardy's Bane was my favorite Batman villain. And a lot of that kind of goes with that quote. Yep. But it's true. Like, had I got into fighting at a time where my fire was uncontrollable or perceived to be uncontrollable, I don't know. Who knows how 21-year-old Nick would have been. But getting into it after my divorce, and after me like having a realization of I have a clean slate.
Yep.
Like, what can I do with this life to optimize the years I have left?
Yep.
Because I felt like I wasted my 20s.
Yep.
And I felt like I never embraced who I was.
Yep.
Until who I was all I had left.
Say that again.
I didn't embrace who I was until I realized that all I had left is who I was.
Yeah, man. As you were speaking, and I think to encapsulate back to your first question, like even what I do, right? I help people transition. Something that I know to be true, physically, literally, and also figuratively and spiritually, is death is a natural part of nature and life.
You've seen it close.
I've seen it up close.
And personal.
And also metaphorically, we have to die. Like it's not up for debate. Like you have to die if you want to live.
Yeah.
And
there's so much truth to that.
Oh yeah.
It is the ultimate truth.
If you want to live, you have to die. It's like, who said it? Will Smith was like, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
Yeah.
Right? And as you were speaking about fighting, it brought me to a reality that a lot of young adolescent boys don't have the transition to cross over. Usually the inferno or whatever, this energy, if you will, that's knocking on the doors of the version of you that almost feels like too tight, most of the time is asking for a transition by way of a process or an environment to help let go of your previous version so you as a soul can inhabit more room. And the unfortunate thing is, it's easy to judge a boy or a girl as a problematic child without recognizing the signs that, hey, they're asking for a new body.
Yeah.
They're asking for a new vessel. The soul is too constricted and suffocated by who they've been that they want to die, metaphorically, to who they were. And that's, I think, a massive epidemic in this society. It's like we don't have, or pandemic, epidemic, whatever. We don't have spaces to help people transition. Even like, so I heard someone say the other day, they said the West is not properly set up for grief.
Everyone's afraid of it.
Not just that. I mean, like even just typical like corporate structures. Like if you go to work and your parents die, they give you, if you have PTO.
Yeah.
You got a couple days and you got to come back to work.
Yeah.
Can't grieve because it interrupt your work.
Yeah.
Or you just have a child. If you got PTO, mother has to be back to work if she's working. So there is no space to allow the death to happen because grief is also necessary for us to really fully take on life. So it's like, if you encapsulate what I do, it's I meet people at the edge of a threshold that they're at most of the time when it involves some sort of transition or some sort of death where they're crossing over into, I don't call it a new version, I'll call it more an original authoritative version of who they are, their nature.
Yeah. I love that. It is one of those things that I felt firsthand. And not when my dad passed, but a little over a year ago, I got baptized. And I had been baptized as a youth. It was a terrible experience. Not because of the baptism.
They drowned you.
Yeah, I know. They left me in too long. He'll be okay.
Give him, he got the Inferno, give him some extra water.
We got to really put that fire out. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
It wasn't the baptism itself that was a bad experience. I loved the church. I loved the pastor. It wasn't until a couple years after I got baptized at about 13, I believe, 13 or 14. And when I was 16, the man that we had decided to be my godfather at that time tried to get me to lose my virginity to a prostitute. And so, again, the whole experience kind of went sour for me. And church in general went sour for me at that time.
Yeah.
And I didn't start going to church until I came out here to, I wasn't even like a holiday church person. I didn't go on Christmas. I didn't go on Easter. I was like, but I had my faith.
Yeah, of
I
course.
was never not a person of faith. I never didn't believe in something greater.
Yeah.
And so last year, when I moved out here in 2020, I found a great church in New Braunfels. Pastor really relayed a message that hit like consistently with me, and it never missed. It always felt like that service was meant for me. And a lot of people feel that way, and it's beautiful. And you can receive and perceive every message in your own way. Yeah. And so I decided, I was like, I talked to my pastor about it. It was the Sunday after Easter. I think Easter last year fell on a Tuesday, I believe. It was Easter. I forget what it was. But anyway, it was a Sunday after Easter. I reached out to my pastor, and I'd been talking about getting baptized again. And he's like, you tell me, it doesn't have to be a Sunday. Mm-hmm. He's like, you tell me any day and time, I'll meet you at the river in New Braunfels. Yeah. And it was one of those things, it's like people who are out of shape that don't want to go to the gym until they get into shape. That's the realization I had. I was like, I keep waiting to be a better person before I get baptized. And I was like, no, I'm not going to wait anymore. I was like, here we are. We go down to the river in New Braunfels. He dunks me and I come back up. And I'm expecting to just feel enlightened. I'm expecting like the world to just be brighter at this time. And I feel sad. Mm-hmm. It's heavy. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm like, was that the wrong thing to do?
Yes.
That was exactly it. So within a couple days, I'd posted on my story about it. I was like, I've always been religious. Now I'm committing myself.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy. It's crazy. A guy that I've never met in person. We've been online friends through fighting for years. Yep. And he messaged me and he's like, "Don't forget to grieve the person that died in the river that day." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your old version died. That version of you is no longer here." He's like, "Do not forget to grieve that." And I was like, that's the heaviness and the darkness that I've been feeling.
Yes. That's why water is so symbolic.
Yeah. It's cleansing.
We came from the water of the womb of our mothers. It's God, and it's like it's so intentional.
Yeah.
Right? That's why water is so symbolic. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was that death, that it was upon that realization that I was like, okay, that is why I'm feeling this grief.
We are an under grief society. And I think unmetabolized grief is why we have a lot of the issues we do today. It's like food that has not been digested. And we're just packing on more.
Yeah.
And we're trying to relate to what used to be. And it's like, yeah, we can't, it's like keeping one foot in and we can't truly move forward if we have not mourned what was.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to put fire, I'm trying to add wood to the fire. Wood that I'm supposed to be using to reconstruct what's in front of me, I'm adding it to the fire to keep what was alive because I'm afraid to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of building your cabin for warmth, you're throwing your wood to the fire because you're afraid to leave that warmth. That's bro.
Chills. We're under grieved. And here's the thing, I know it could be quite heavy, but I don't care what culture you look at. Many cultures from the past, they respected death just as much as they respected life. In fact, death made them respect life even more. They honored it. There was, like, even when two sides would war, two kingdoms would fight war, there would be always a day, depending on how much death they remember. Yeah. Have you ever seen Troy or any of these type of movies? No fighting.
Yeah. It was like a ceremony.
Yes. It was like 7 days of rest. Yep. Let's mourn.
Yeah.
And then let's get back to it after. Because they knew not only was grief needed, but you also need the transition of the soul that was once in the body to pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, of course, like a version of you died in that river. But luckily you had people in your life to help you reflect upon that. Otherwise, your mind would have hijacked you and told you, oh, that was a poor decision. And then you would try to recant it.
You're questioning everything. And it kind of like that warrior mentality. They speak to it in like Gladiator and 300, where it's like, that is a glorious, death is glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah, is the word they use to describe it. It's a glorious death.
It's actually relief.
It is. And that's it. And it's tale as old as time. When someone passes, like you're like, oh, they're in a better place now. Everyone always tells you that.
Yeah.
But when you truly understand that, like, no, they are. It is something to be celebrated. And by no means does that make someone suicidal for glorifying passing to the next. Like, I'm not in a hurry to die.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry to die. The other night I had the worst turbulence of my life on a flight. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to take a nap.
If this is the day, oh well, there's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, because you know what? If the plane crashes while my eyes are closed, upon opening them, I'm where I'm supposed to be. And so be it. And it's one of those things, like, again, I can't wait to see my dad again. You know, I can't wait to be on the other side where there's glory and there's God and there's no pain. And again, that's by no means am I in a hurry to end what I'm doing now.
Of course. Because
I think I'm on a journey and I have a purpose.
Of course.
But I also know that at the end of my journey, there's a celebration.
Yeah. And by the way, for those who are listening, this is in no means, if you experience the death of a loved one or someone who passed, that we're not dismissing your own personal experience with that. It is painful. I think it's supposed to be painful, right? When we lose someone. Because they're not just passing, right? They're not just transitioning. What's also dying is who they were for you in understanding yourself. So you're losing that mirror. Now that person is not there to help you relate to yourself through them in the way that they used to. Now, not only did they die, you're also dying.
Yeah.
Because they're no longer there.
Yeah.
So you go through your own process of grief of, okay, who am I now without this individual?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's so well said. By no means are we like brushing any of that off the side. Yeah. It's so important to grieve.
Yes.
It is so, and
yes.
It took me 8 years after my dad passed to like fully process, because I was in a hurry to find something normal. And I found nothing that was normal.
Yeah.
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 I think that's a good place to call it.
Yeah, same, bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
very powerful, very impactful. Like I expected nothing less.
I appreciate you for having me again, man.
Man, I appreciate you presenting the questions that you did, challenging me as a man.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the work you're doing to help people get through their own storms.
Yeah.
Because again, you are that rock to so many people. So continue to do that.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
of course.
Yeah, man.
Why don't you tell the people where to find you?
Yes. Instagram, Samsons_strength. That is where I spend a lot of my time right now. So if you feel it on your heart, if you connect with any of the content that I share, drop a comment, drop a message, or even send me a message if there's a question you have, if there's something that you're navigating. But yeah, that's where I am right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out, especially men. I mean, so many men are hiding their infernos.
Yeah. By the way, to the men out there, this is the last thing I actually want to say. I wanted to say this. To the men, if you're listening, the more you go into the feminine nature within you, the more of a man you are.
Amen. I'm so glad I was raised with my 3 sisters.
Well, it's not even that. Because we talk about, because I have 3 girls at home, my wife and my 2 girls. I have 2 sisters. So I've been around women a lot, and I've also been around a lot of men. I'm talking about the feminine nature within us. If we demonize feminine externally, we demonize it internally. But when we were talking about the art of fighting, which is a dance, which is, again, it has a feminine nature to it. Yeah. When you're fighting, are you less of a man?
No.
So how is it okay to be in a feminine art that's making you a better fighter without acknowledging that when you lean more into it, you become more of a man?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the edge of who you are, or the edge of the masculine, is met by the next edge of the feminine. They work hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned in my life, when I lean into the feminine, I become more of a man. So I just wanted to share that for the men out there. Don't be too hard on yourself. Lean into the feminine, you'll realize there's more of a man in there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Lions Pit podcast. Again, I am your host, Nick Gomez. My guest today, Samson Odusanya. Shout out to Set, the new nicotine alternative pouches. That is getset.co, SETT. Give them a look, especially if you're trying to quit nicotine. And then also shout out to Ghost Muay Thai, the new Muay Thai brand out there. They are really changing the look of the game and putting out some really cool stuff and helping a lot of fighters around the world. Use the code THEPIT for both of those for a discount, and we will see you guys next time.